2018 is a year that I can look back upon fondly, because right off the top of my head, I can recall 10 amazing memories that happened just last year. And I'm going to use those memories to compile my list of the top 9 video games of 2018. That's right, I said 9. What, do you think my entire life revolves around video games? Come on, I had to devote one of those memories to something else. Like the fact that I got married last year. That and the fact that I was going to put Call of Duty Black Ops 4 at number 10, but then they had to go and screw all that up with egregious microtransactions, so I don't want to give that game any attention. But you know what, it's fine, don't worry about it. We're going to turn this negative into a positive and set this video apart from all the other top 10 games of 2018 lists out there by doing a top 9 games of 2018. Yeah. Let's just get on with it. "2018 finally gave us something that I never thought we were ever going to get again, and that is a proper Mega Man sequel. My god, it took them long enough. Mega Man 11 is great, and it's great because it's Mega Man. I absolutely suck at this game. I am trash, but I do not care because it's Mega Man, and that's all I want. I want to jump and shoot, and jump and shoot, and slow time and shoot. Yeah, okay, so there are some nuances thrown in. But you know what? I welcome these new additions, because not only are they fun, but they don't take away from the fact that I'm playing Mega Man, and it's the Mega Man I've wanted for a very long time. Mega Man 11 is to 2018 what Sonic Mania was to 2017, proving that sometimes, rather than constantly trying to reinvent an entire franchise, it's best just to give us more of what we love. And that is what Mega Man 11 does. You know, it's kind of funny. I only just now realized how everything I said about Mega Man 11 can also be applied to Mario Party 11, better known as Super Mario Party. This brought Mario Party back to its roots, after the unwelcome departures of the last 2 entries. Super Mario Party is a proper board game with incredibly fun minigames. Many of them involve an impressive utilization of the motion controls. And I will never forget the first time we played Slapperazzi. I will never get tired of that game. Super Mario Party provided a lot of great opportunities for me to have a lot of fun with my family. Even Partner Party and the co-op canoe game were a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the online modes were not all that impressive, and the limited number of boards led to a fairly quick burnout of the game. But overall, Super Mario Party was a whole lot of fun, and it's a game that I am certain that we will dust off and return to many times down the road. At this point, it's actually been quite a while since I've played Far Cry 5, but it was certainly an early delight in 2018. For many, it may boil down to nothing more than a B-movie style action game, but I've never really had much of a problem with that. It certainly did feel like an old school action shooter, but I genuinely found that to be refreshing. And while the storyline maybe wasn't as strong as some of the other storylines from this year, I really enjoyed taking on the crazy religious cult.
Despite all that you have done, you are not beyond salvation. You're not here by accident or by chance. You are here by the grace of God.
Seriously, if Joseph's Seed and Eden's Gate were real, I'm pretty sure there would have already been a Down the Rabbit Hole episode made about them. Fascinating channel, by the way. The game showcased American culture without having a political agenda, much to the ire of the leftist game journos and social justice warriors, which is always a +1 in my book. Montana is gorgeous, and it made hunting, fishing, exploring, and invading the territories a constant delight. And that menu music. That's definitely gone down as one of my favorite game tracks of all time. I truly appreciate Far Cry 5 for what it is. It's a game that only seeks to be a fun video game and nothing more. Monster Hunter World was not only the first game I played from 2018, it was also my first entry into the Monster Hunter series, and boy did it make a good first impression. This game is everything I've come to love about Japanese games. It's quirky, it has over-the-top massive weapons, and it's grindy. Yes, I actually do enjoy grindy games. What can I say? I like to have some games that let me shut my brain off and grind, and Monster Hunter allows me to do that. And that's not to say that it doesn't get challenging, because it absolutely does, but I love the way the game allows me to choose how I want to face those challenges. Character customization is as deep as it is rewarding. The game has been packed full of content from day one, and even more has been added since then. It's been almost a full year since Monster Hunter World launched, and I am still coming back to this game, having as much fun now as I had then. Look, I can already hear the keyboard matching intensifying. But before you tar and feather me for having a different opinion than you, at least hear me out. I realize that God of War is supposed to be number 1 or at the very least number 2 on everyone's list. But if it's any consolation, I haven't actually finished the game yet, and I believe that in and of itself says something. For one, the fact that I haven't finished the game and it still made it on my list says a lot to how compelling the game actually is, and God of War is a very solid title. The game is gorgeous and it has a very compelling story. The combat is a lot of fun with Thor's Mjolnir style axe. Seriously, throwing that thing and calling it back never gets old. And for people that love those narrative-driven third-person action games that we often see, especially on the PlayStation 4, this is probably one of the greatest games ever made. Games like the Uncharted series, The Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, and God of War, which is arguably the best of the bunch, hit a strong note with a lot of people. But I'm not one of them. And that's the main reason why I haven't finished God of War yet. And that's also the reason why it's number 5 on my list. I have been playing Pokemon since Generation 1, so knowing how much of a departure Pokemon Let's Go was from the original titles, I had mixed feelings going in. But the game turned out to be a lot more fun than I ever expected. For one, I was finally playing an officially released Pokemon game on the big screen. And for someone like me who can't see very well, this was a pretty big deal. The game allowed me to visit Kanto once again, successfully capitalizing on my nostalgia, while at the same time adding some nuance to the actual gameplay. I genuinely enjoy catching Pokemon in this game, and it's some of the best uses of motion controls I've seen so far, albeit a little frustrating at times. But at the same time, the game held on to the traditional battle system, which I really appreciated. But I do have a couple of complaints with this game. Number 1, the game was far too easy. The ease of leveling, the candy system, and having a ridiculously overpowered Pikachu all contributed to a game that felt fairly brain dead in terms of challenge. My other complaint is that my rival was way too nice. To me, Blue was a true rival. He was like iron sharpening iron. But this new kid was a wet noodle. And to me, it really hurt the narrative. And if the idea is that this new snowflake generation can't handle a little friction, I think we got bigger problems to worry about. But I digress. While I do feel like Pokemon Let's Go went a little too far in catering to a more casual audience, it did not stop me from having a lot of fun. And what also helps is knowing that soon enough we will be getting a more traditional Generation 8 on the Nintendo Switch. For me, as long as Game Freak continues to release traditional Pokemon games, I see no reason why they can't also release a series of Pokemon Let's Go. It brings Pokemon to a larger audience, and it's more Pokemon to experience with diehard fans. And I see that as a good thing. You want to know what's good? SpiderMan for PS4. It's really good. It's great, in fact. I love this game. It's like if you took combat and upgrades from the Batman Arkham series, the Collectathon from Banjo-Kazooie, and the SpiderMan from SpiderMan. Swinging around New York City is about as much fun as you would expect, and it pretty much never gets old. Seriously, sometimes I hop on the game just to web around. It's really satisfying. The game does a great job at telling the same Spider-Man story in a new way. It manages to do something new while celebrating everything that Spider-Man has been. And by the end of it, I was wanting more. Not only from Spider-Man, but from other Marvel characters as well. I'm ready for a Marvel video game universe to rival the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because at the end of the day, it's just a lot of fun to be a superhero. In my view, when it comes to video games, it rarely gets better than Red Dead Redemption 2. As a single player experience, it's one of the best. It looks amazing, the narrative is captivating, and it has loads of compelling gameplay to go along with it. Pretty much everything I could hope for in a single player experience is in Red Dead Redemption 2. And quite frankly, any chance I get to be an awesome cowboy, I'm going to take it. Some will probably disagree with this, but I just loved the inconvenience of it all. Having to maintain my horse, clean my gun, the limited fast travel, and so many other things that were technically inconvenient all served to help me feel more immersed in the world that I was in, which made me care so much more about the story that hooked me from beginning to end. Arthur Morgan will go down as one of my favorite video game characters ever, and by the end of the story, I was in tears. And Red Dead 2 is an open world that I love to kill time in, whether I'm hunting, helping strangers, or playing cards. Now, I was a little bit disappointed in the game's progression because it was very easy to get money just by playing through the story missions. And the game itself didn't really do a good job at making me feel like I needed to do anything outside of the story missions. But I was hoping that the online mode would help fulfill that need for progression. Unfortunately, the online mode is simply abysmal. Everything that's fun about playing online is everything that was fun about the single player game, which is the game and the world itself. But the systems, the economy, and the microtransactions with the online mode are an insult to gamers everywhere, and I believe this does hold the game back tremendously. Red Dead Redemption 2 in itself is a representation of the best and the worst of gaming. The online mode is everything that I hate about AAA gaming, but the single player mode is everything I love about video games. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is by far the best game that I played in 2018. Because at the end of the day, what matters most for me when I play a game is not the graphics or story or some features, but it's how much fun I'm actually having when I play the game. And as much fun as these other games were, they simply don't hold a candle to Smash Bros. I am hooked on this game. Whether I'm playing by myself or I'm playing with family, I am having a blast. Because it's as much of a party game as it is a competitive fighter. Even my wife, who's not really much of a gamer, is hooked on Smash Bros. And you know what they say, a family that plays together, stays together. The only real downside to Smash Bros. Ultimate is Nintendo's crappy online service, which they need to fix. Other than that, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is great. It was by far my favorite game that came out in 2018, and it will likely be one of my favorite games in 2019, and perhaps even longer. So those are my top 9 games from 2018. But there were some pretty cool looking games that I didn't get to play, such as Dragon Ball FighterZ and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and probably some others as well. So a lot of your lists are likely very different from mine, and I'd love to hear about your favorite games from 2018 down in the comments below. Hey, we may not all agree on what our favorite games were from last year, but I'm pretty sure there's one thing we can all agree on. Fortnite sucks. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button, and feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter And if you'd like, you can support this channel on Patreon. Links to all of this can be found in the description below. This is Kephas. Until next time.